Hello, thank you for watching Kingsport Tool Review. My name is Gary, and today we're going to do a comparison of crimpers. What I have here are actually 3 pairs of crimpers, but I really just want to compare these two, but I thought I'd throw this in towards the end as a bonus. This pair is probably the most common purchase pair by electricians in the electrician industry. This pair is made by Klein, and this is a pair made by a company called Snap-on. This again cost about $20 more than these do. Not as readily available. You usually have to buy these from a Snap-on dealer or Snap-on website, but we're going to do a comparison to see which one is actually better, Snap-on or Klein, or at least who makes the better crimper, Snap-on and Klein. It doesn't necessarily mean the whole companies are better. One company's better than the other. But first I want to point out some minor differences. If I put both of these, okay, why is my camera? If I put both of these side by side, I want you to look at the heads of these. Notice that the indentation on the Klein is on the front, the actual crimp indentation, and I'll open it so you can see what I'm talking about. The tooth is right there on the front, and then the mash side is on the back, whereas on the Snap-on is completely reversed. Has the mash on the front, and then it has the tooth side, which is also called a bare side, is actually in the back. So these two are the heads. Although these two tools look very similar, the heads, the crimp heads, are actually completely reversed of each other. So which one's better? Which one's better? We're about to find out. So to start off with, we're just going to put a simple, this is number 14 wire, by the way, for those that need to know. We're going to put a spade lug on a number 14 wire. We're going to crimp it with the Kleins first. If I can get this spade lug to stay on, that is. Okay. I is an electrician, right? And I like to get good solid crimp on it. Okay. We've got a really good solid crimp on there. This is not going to come off. Kind of sloppy looking, but it'll work. It'll serve its purpose. Now let's try the Snap-ons. Same test. Putting it into a spade lug. Now we're going to crimp it with, this time we're going to crimp using the Snap-on. Remember, the Snap-on is in the back, not the front. Just the opposite of the Klein. I want you to look at how much neater, and no, it's no sleight of hand trick by me either, that's real, how much neater and cleaner the Snap-on crimp is. By the way, it's not coming off. I want to do the same thing again, this time using ring lugs. This is what's called a ring lug. Basically, it's identical to the spade lug. Oh, there's a thing too. I want to look at these side by side. When you look at these side by side, I can actually see a little bitty tear in the insulation on the one that the Klein did, whereas the one the Snap-on did on the bottom is perfect. But let's do the same thing again with the ring lugs. So we slide the ring lug on. Again, we're going to use the Klein's. We're going to use the Klein pair first, which has the crimp on the front. Okay, that's crimped on. That is not coming off. Yeah, that's on there real good. Solid crimp. But once again, I want you to look. There's a little bitty split in the insulation right there at the front. See it? Let's do it again with the snap-ons. If I can get it to stay in. Okay, now we're going to take the snap-ons to it. Look at that. Look at that. It's sheer perfection. Perfect. Again, it will not come off. Now let's try it with a butt splice. We're going to put the butt splice. See how good the crimp we get is with a butt splice. Once again, we're going to do the Klein one first. It's not coming off. Now I will tell you right now, the Klein did a much better job on the butt splice than it did the lugs, the Spade lugs and the ring lugs. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to butt these together so we can see the crimps literally side by side. Okay, let's try the snap-ons. Okay, and that's not coming off either. Now, I do want to show you something, and this is really important. If I can get the camera to focus. Focus. Notice how much wider the crimp is, where the crimping tooth come in on the snap-on side, and how much narrow it is on how much narrower it is on the Klein side. So you're actually getting more bite contact with a slightly wider tooth, crimping tooth, with the snap-on. So the end analogy here is that the snap-on crimper is actually a much better crimper than the Klein one. But I want you to look at a difference in how they're made too. Notice I showed you how the tooth was wider on how the bite mark of the crimp was wider on the snap-on. Look how much thicker and more heavy duty the snap-on crimpers are. In the metal on the head of the crimper. Look how much thicker it is to the Klein. These are actually, and I usually think of Klein as the epitome of electrical tools. But here is one tool where Snap-on literally has blown them out of the water. Now, I also brought these out. These are the little mini crimpers. These are the little Snap-on mini crimpers. And Klein doesn't really make a mini crimper like this. But I thought I've got another butt splice. I thought I would do another butt splice with these. Okay, we got the insulation on. Let's see how well these little mini crimpers will crimp a butt splice. Now these have the same design as the Klein, where the tooth is in the front and the mash is in the back. Well, it's not coming off, that I can tell you. But you can also see just a little bitty tooth mark. When it's a much smaller tool, it's going to have a smaller mark. But that's a solid crimp. That is a very solid crimp. It made as a solid a crimp as these two. So what's my final analogy? Snap-on wins this battle. Now I do promise you that if you was to go through and start comparing all of Klein's tools versus all of Klein's tools versus all of Snap-on's tools, Snap-on isn't going to win every battle. Klein's going to win some, Snap-on's going to win some. This is one that Snap-on wins. These Klein crimpers, some people call these steak-ons, this style of crimper a steak-on. That's because steak-on was actually, there used to be a company many years ago called Thomas and Betts who branded these as steak-ons, and a lot of the old-time electricians will still refer to these as steak-ons. But actually, if you're going to be doing a lot of work particularly in the industrial field, where you're going to be working with motors, those little electric motors and sensors where you have to use a lot of spade lugs, I would actually encourage you to spend the extra $20 and get the much better Snap-on over the Klein ones. Now the Klein ones aren't bad. To be honest with you, I've used the Klein ones, not this particular pair. You can see the rust on here where these have been used a lot, and I've had them for several years. But I actually started out using a pair of these made by Channel Lock back in the 1990s, and I switched to Klein. And I used Klein for, I bet you, more than 15 years. And at the time, I really believed these were the best crimper on the market. And just a few years ago, I discovered the Snap-on. And another thing that I like about the Snap-on is the handle. They have this, notice how slick and smooth the Klein handle is? Excuse me. The Snap-ons have a textured handle. It's still made of the same PVC material, but it has a textured handle. So your winner today is going to be Snap-on. So I highly recommend these. All right, well, thank you very much, and thank you for watching the Kingsport tool review, and you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.